bringing you news and information from around the Pacific Command. This is your AFN Pacific Report.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of AFN Pacific Report. I'm Senior Airman Therese Garnier. During his first major policy speech as Pentagon Chief, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel signaled possible big changes ahead for the DoD in acquisition, personnel, and organization. On Wednesday, Hagel outlined his plan of attack for strategic and financial challenges the Defense Department faces during remarks at the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. Hagel said DoD's task is to prepare for the future, but not in a way that neglects or is oblivious to the realities of the present. Also on Wednesday, the DoD announced the deployment of a ballistic missile defense system to the island of Guam. Pat Franklin has the details.
The Department of Defense announced plans to deploy a terminal high-altitude area defense system known as THAAD to Guam. The move of this land-based missile defense system is precautionary and designed to strengthen defense capabilities for American citizens in the U.S. territory of Guam and U.S. forces stationed here. It also strengthens the regional defense posture for the United States and its allies against the North Korean regional ballistic missile threat. Patrick Franklin, Asan Beach Overlook, Guam.
On July 21, 1944, Marines rushed ashore at Guam to recapture the island from Japanese forces. Today, Marines are back on the island for Exercise Guahan Shield. The Devil Dogs drew inspiration from history for part of their training.
59 years after Marines recaptured the island of Guam from Japanese forces, a new generation of leathernecks stormed the beach for a historically based session of battlefield physical training. Second Lieutenant Daiquiri Grove, the 2nd Platoon Commander for Lima Company 36, explains the driving force behind today's training.
Basically, it was a chance after we went into the field this week of kind of motivating the Marines. We talked about 2 islands in the Pacific that the Marines took, basically what the Marines did, casualties, how we affected the enemy, pretty much just to remind the Marines where we come from. That's pretty motivating because on one of the battles, 3-6 Lima was actually leading the fight for a while.
After learning how Marines of the past won the World War II battles of Tarawa and Guam, these Devil Dogs battled the surf and sand in a strength and endurance test. The exercises represented challenges Marines have faced in combat, such as saving a fallen comrade, diving to evade enemy fire, and getting back up into the fight. And to top it off, they became sugar cookies, probably the only time you'll hear a term of sweetness used to refer to a leatherneck. Once properly coated with sand, they gathered as one of their brethren, a platoon sergeant, re-enlisted.
United States Marine Corps, certificate of re-enlistment. Be it known that Staff Sergeant Russell A. Delphat has been accepted for re-enlistment in the United States Marine Corps.
It wasn't as important for me as it was the Marines. I wanted to do it in front of the younger Marines so that it would give them some motivation to want to re-enlist, because the whole company's there. Everybody can see it. Everybody's miserable together, and to do something like that in misery kind of motivates the Marines.
Hi, Russell Alexander Delphat.
I've been in for 12 years. This re-enlistment will put me at 16 years, and I do plan on retiring from the Marine Corps, hopefully after 20, but it depends on if the Marine Corps will keep me after that.
I love getting dirty. I love playing in the sand. I love patrolling through the jungle. I love the Marine Corps.
Dusted and drained, this group of motivated Marines wrapped up the day's events with a deeper sense of connection to the past, yet prepared to face challenges awaiting them on future shores. Airman First Class Ashley Powell, Hoputo Beach, Guam.
Another historically inspired tradition is the NCO induction ceremony. Camp Zama held an annual ceremony that included members from the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force.
A non-commissioned officer induction ceremony was held recently at the Camp Zama Community Activity Center.
Soldiers, remember,
33 inductees, including U.S. Army soldiers and 5 members of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force, were welcomed as the newest members of the NCO Corps.
This is very important for 3 reasons. First, it supports the Army Spirit the Corps. Second, it supports the CJ's vision of strengthening our bilateral relationship with JGSDF. Third, it teaches our younger generation of sergeants the customs and courtesies and tradition that we have in place, that they're in charge, that they are the ones leading their soldiers.
The tradition of the induction ceremony allows NCOs and other soldiers the opportunity to welcome those newly promoted to the rank of sergeant and above, and to celebrate their induction into the elite NCO Corps.
Non-commissioned officers, leaders!
I became a non-commissioned officer. My next goal or the day-to-day basis for me would be continuing coaching and mentoring my soldiers and be given missions and carry out those missions successfully and safely with my soldiers.
Since I have now been promoted to the rank of sergeant, I must take responsibility for my subordinates as well as my duties as a leader. Although being promoted adds some additional pressure, I think that pressure will help me to contribute to the mission of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force.
Following the ceremony, 33 new NCOs had taken the step toward becoming professional leaders in their respective branches of service. For U.S. Army Garrison Japan, this is Rich Fagler reporting.
A traumatic brain injury, or TBI, is a blow to the head that disrupts normal brain function. In the military, 80% of these injuries happen in a non-deployed setting. Healthcare professionals across the Pacific are urging service members and their families to learn more about this type of injury and how to recognize its symptoms.
Let's say somebody is in an automobile accident. You want to look for the acute signs in terms of whether or not they black out. In other words, do they lose consciousness? Do they seem stunned? And what you want to look for are signs that maybe they're dizzy or they're complaining of other kinds of symptoms, headaches, sensitive to light, or they're sensitive to sound. There are many other symptoms. Certainly if you go to the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center website, they have a whole list of things that they can look at. There's so many resources available.
Coming up, Navy chiefs celebrate a birthday. But first, let's take a look around the Pacific Command in today's snapshots.
A sailor carries lights aboard USS John C. Stennis while afloat in the U.S. 7th Fleet Area of Responsibility. Girl Scouts at Osan Air Base march against violence in a child abuse prevention parade. A sailor hits a heavy bag during a boxing training session in Hawaii. And that's a look around the Pacific Command in today's snapshots.
Chief Petty Officers at Yokosuka took time out to reflect on more than a century of deck plate leadership. Petty Officer Mike Story reports on this time-honored occasion.
More than 100 Navy Chief Petty Officers celebrate the 120th birthday of the Navy Chief.
We're here for that brotherhood, that sisterhood bond that we have. Being in the military, always having your brother or your sister chief to depend on to assist you in any problem that may come up.
These forward deployed sailors have come together at Fleet Activities Yokosuka to begin this time-honored day with the raising of morning colors.
It's a great opportunity for the chiefs on this base, in this community, to kick off morning colors as we go back to our heritage, remember where we've come from as we lead our future.
Since 1893 to present day, the CPO's role remains a vital component to mission success and sailor development in the evolution of a growing military.
It's also maintaining levels of technical expertise and institutional expertise, and then also being the guardians of heritage in the Navy and passing that along as part of our training as well.
As technology advances and generations change, this proud bunch continues to pass the torch of tradition and heritage as Navy Chief Petty Officers. Petty Officer Michael Story, Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan.
Late last month, service members on Guam joined with local communities for the island's 37th annual Special Olympics.
Military troops and local residents teamed up recently for the 37th annual Guam Special Olympics at Uguru High School. Thousands of personnel, including hundreds of military volunteers, helped out what has become one of Guam's most appreciated traditions.
It really doesn't matter whether you're in California or you're Canada Barragata. People care about the Special Olympics because it's such a great thing. But when you get the military out here, it shows that this is one community, it's one island, we're all here for the same purpose, to help the Special Olympics.
The day kicked off with a parade around the track in which all the athletes, their families, and the volunteers were recognized before the events got started. The events included softball throws, long jump, and a multitude of sprinting competitions. The track was loaded with volunteers and families who made sure the athletes knew just how much their community supports them.
It motivates me to come because the students give their all, and when you're cheering for them, they feel like they're on top of a cloud. It's great because these able-bodied people assisting people that may have some challenges, maybe some physical challenges, but everybody's one team, and it is their show today, and we're showing that. I love it.
And as if their performances weren't enough to display how motivated they are of the Special Olympics, a few athletes have no problem setting goals for their big day.
You excited? Yeah, it's
Could you tell me which one you're more excited for and why?
Yeah, the ball.
You think you're good at it?
Yeah.
How far are you going to throw it?
Over the fence.
The Special Olympics of Guam remains a great example of joint military volunteering, as well as the overwhelming positive effect even a small island community can have on such an endearing event. Reporting from Anderson Air Force Base, I'm Airman First Class Adam Harder.
We head to Korea to wrap up this newscast with a story from Osan that shows how technological progress in the military sometimes requires temporary ingenuity.
His name is Stevie J.
Imagine a fish without water.
That's my fish.
That's how it is for the 51st Force Support Squadron to work without MIL-PDS, or Military Personnel Data System.
Currently we have MIL-PDS, mitigation. Pretty much they're updating our system that we mainly use to do all our personnel processes.
But instead of flopping around, Career Development Specialist Staff Sergeant Joanna Ellerby is doing everything she can to help. So the next time, before you get your fins in a fit, remember.
It just will help for customers to know that sometimes it's not that we don't want to help them, it's that we have limited capabilities.
Senior Airman Destiny Chavez, Osan Air Base, Korea.
Have a good day.
That's it for this newscast. From all of us here at AFM Pacific, thanks for watching.